fact that I can do that incredibly quickly is something that nobody could do before. So that's an opportunity that you can leverage that other people can't. I'm printing flexible stuff. So this is some TPU. I'm just making a funny little bracelet. And you can toss those around. Those feel good because they're flexy. My other box, well here, I do some drone stuff. So this is, batteries are working. Oh, I see a broken wire. This is Dr. Evil Bunny, and when it rolls, the saws turn and the axes chop. But I noticed a broken wire, so I'm sure he won't turn on. And this is a quad robot, which omnidirectional wheels, so it'll go any direction. So you can drive in a circle. You don't have to you don't have to be like a car and follow your nose. You can go sideways, backwards, diagonal ways, any direction at any time. This one also is not functioning just at the moment because the batteries are dead, and also they're kind of set to show up quick. These are little things that I'm putting on light bulbs to make lamp covers. So if you've got a pendant lamp, you just print this out, jam this on one of those new LED light bulbs, and it's a lamp, just kind of by that. And again, that's the flexi stuff. So that is, the flexible stuff is by Sane Smart. You can buy it on Amazon, and it's called TPU. This is stuff that is from Shapeways, but these are all little vehicles printed in their nylon polished plastic, so high dirt, but they're printed assembled. So the wheels came out of the machine like this, but in white, and then they dye it blue. But, you know, I've got shock absorbers and rolling wheels, and it came out of the machine like that. So I'm starting a Shapeways store in which I sell vehicles like that.
So did you use two colors?
Yeah, I just switched colors partway through. If you have a dual head, you can have the machine do that. I usually just in the shop, so I just kind of randomly reach over and change colors because that's what I do. This is actually like a Hot Wheels. It's a metal chassis and popped on plastic parts. So you can hybrid your own stuff. And again, these are hundreds of thousands of dollars machines, but they're online, so just use it. You know, you don't have to own the machine and know how to run the machine. Now, having access is also beneficial. You can work much faster at different price points. This stuff's stupid expensive. FDM machines are a lot cheaper. So I at home have a bunch of FDM machines. They're just cheaper to run and use. But when I want to do stuff like this, you know, when I want to print metal, I don't have the $3 million machine, right? So I have Shapeways do that. But so this is a project I'm doing. You'll see several cheetahs. And the idea, kind of like what I was saying before, is in today's world, if you have one file, you can print something in any size and in any material you want. And that's just new. You could never do that before. So this was printed, they printed it in wax, and then they cast this in brass, and then they plated it in gold. So this is like how a ring would have been done in jewelry. You know, that's how they do jewelry. So they make it in wax, they pour plaster around it, melt it out, and they pour it in gold or whatever. So this is done in this very similar way to the way jewelry's been done for a long time. Please don't drop. This, on the other hand, is stainless steel, gold plated. They zap stainless steel powder together, and then they infuse it with brass, and then they gold plate it. So it's two completely different ways of getting something very close to each other, but those are both metal. They're at a high price. I think those are probably about $80 if you were to do them on Shapeways. Big, cool stainless steel dinosaur. So that same cheetah, big stainless, so you don't have to pass everything around if you don't want. Doing a hybrid of metal parts and plastics, but a la robot.
Shapeways made this?
Well, they printed, no, X1 printed that for me, but X1 prints for Shapeways too. So some companies I work directly with just because I'm within the industry, but you could get that off. Shapeways could print that, but if I go directly, I get a better price at bigger. So I'm going with X1. And X1 does do small prints, but this is, again, Shapeways, so it's plastic parts and printed metal parts. This one I'm not going to pass around, but I like the idea of kind of hybridizing these things. I'm from Mattel originally, so Hot Wheels is metal parts and plastic parts. So my brain just kind of works like that anyhow.
So, Mark, what
Yes.
software are you using?
I use Rhino, and that's pretty much what I use for all my modeling. The way I look at computer modeling, and if you're going to be doing any of this stuff, you have to ask yourself, what am I going to make? And so if you want to make a bunny, because you work at Pixar, and you want it to be super cute and really round, well, you're going to use Maya or something like Maya, or maybe ZBrush, because that's very sculpted. If you're an engineer and you work at NASA and you want to make sure that hundreds of microns are accurate, use CAD. So CAD is math, Maya is art, they're kind of separate. Rhino, I like it, it's kind of in the middle. Because you can build with, and then you can kind of pull on things. So when I make a gear, it's an exact diameter. Whereas in some other softwares, it's hard to make an exact diameter. They want to make a bunny, they don't care about the exact. So for my things, I want to make sure that that's going to fit. But then I can also push and pull on it enough that I can make a cute little bunny. So I can make bunnies and gears in Rhino. If you're a student, Rhino's cheap. Rhino has cool plugins that you can render with, you can animate with, and other things like that. So Rhino's pretty friendly in general. However, it's what you do and what you're good at. So if you're in animation world, stick to ZBrush, stick to Maya, maybe Rhino. And if you have it on your resume, Rhino won't mean anything to anybody. ZBrush will mean something to somebody. SolidWorks will mean something. So if Rhino's in the middle, ZBrush is on the art side, and SolidWorks is on the math side. Right? They're close, but they're just kind of. But again, it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing if you're doing super swoopy cars, you need one technology. If you're doing really artsy bunny rabbits and stuff, you need another. But that's kind of talking too long. But this is aluminum, another little robot print. Resolution's really low on that one. But it's hard to see in this light, but that's also a little working car. So that is the same vehicle. Those wheels roll, and it was printed like that.
And that was on a SLA machine?
This is an SLS machine. So this is a nylon powder that's zapped together with a laser. This is out of an Objet or a Projet or something like that. So this is a inkjet head printer, more or less, depositing a resin that's cured by light. So there's just two different kinds of machines. So one is powder-based, one is liquid-based.
Do the wheels roll right out of the machine?
Yeah, it comes
Or
out.
you
Well,
have
there's
to,
some,
like,
this.
take off?
So the way they make this one is, did you show any of of how stuff is made by the printers?
Well, I didn't show anything that relates to that.
Okay, so powder-based printers is you lay a little layer of powder, and either you glue it together by printing glue, or you zap it with a laser, and that binds. And you add a little more powder, a little more powder, a little more powder. Keep repeating this layer per layer per layer per layer. So when you're done, if you've got a part that's kind of hanging out in outer space, there's dust all around it. There's powder. That's the support material, right? He was talking about the supports.
Oh, I see.
You pull it out. So powder's real easy. In an SLS machine, you just go, powder's gone.
Yeah.
So easy to make a wheel. FDM machine, you get these weird little sticks that are in there holding together. You'd have to pick them out. So you can't. Some things you can't like. So for this machine, it's cool because the powder just blows out. The other machine, the Objet, this one, the support is a water-based material, so you just wash it off with water and it just disappears. Right. So you have to have one that you don't have to pick off if you want to do parts that are assembled. Right. And there's other weird limits. Every machine has a weird limitation. But that's why it's cool to work with all the machines and not just say, I only want this one, because that's also why it's challenging to get the machine that does everything. Like the cheap ones are plastic and they have ridges, but you can have one in your house for $1,000, which is, these are $50,000 machines, these are $100,000 machines. But you can get that online too. And so, but again, here's some little action figures that have some guys with springs in them, carefully. And so here's the big version of it, right, SLS. But I usually do kind of like what's the big one, what's the small one, just to see. But again, you can print springs right in there. You can print numbers very accurately. Whereas if you were a sculptor, sculpting a number 3 and all the letters of the alphabet's a pain in the butt. In this case, I just hit, just comes out of the machine. Oh, there's a whole other box too. It had some other tricks in it. So that's the small stuff. There's actually some more small stuff because you can even go. Let's see, where's my smallest dude? Way down in the box. So that's an SLS that's small. Damn, I can't even get it. Where'd you go? Oh man, sometimes they're so small you lose them.
So Mark, are you selling a lot online now?
I'm starting a store. I'm trying to do that, but I'm actually not as good as the store part as I'm at the design part. So I have a store up, which is in Sanatoy. It's the name he gave me. So this is actually a little robot there in my palm.
Hey, we're gonna put up a storefront here for the holiday in the front.
Right. Yeah. So
Go
finding
to put some stuff.
connections like that is a good way of making things happen. But
People getting into Walmart from Shapeways now.
Correct. Walmart is so Walmart, Sears, all the companies are trying to figure out what to do. There's a company called 3DLT, and if you give them files, they'll try to put them online and have them in Walmart. However, even the big companies are making all this up as they go. This is so new that even Shapeways has problems.
Staples just announced at the show that they've got a partnership and it's live with, what's the French guy that was on the panel?
Parts though, you have to figure out how to assemble it. But it's split in half to make it easier to print on the flat bed, and then you buy a flashlight from Home Depot and you jam it in there.
This is like, the people who ask like, well, what do I do? I mean, this is why like marketing companies like, oh my God, you can do just about anything you can imagine.
Oh, this is nice.
You can cheat and you can add some plastic tubes. So the tubes are not printed, but you can buy this tube at Home Depot. So you can make big things faster maybe, and cheaper. And it's a kit when you do something like that.
Damn toy makers.
Got a USB to plug this into?
Yeah.
Just plug that in. That'll light up when it's plugged into USB. But I make weird little mechanisms for a living. And that's a weird little mechanism that's printed on an FDM machine. And there's some weird, complicated little gear systems going on in there where if you tried to build this model before, you'd have to have a bucket full of gears, and you'd have to have a machine that could cut the gears, and all this weird stuff that now I'm just like, because every gear I need is in the machine. I don't have to have boxes of gears. And if I want a square tube or a round tube or a triangular shaped tube, they're all in the machine. I don't have to have different sized drill bits. My machine drills every hole. Well, it prints every hole. But you don't even need a drill or a drill bit because it makes the holes. And it makes a square hole too. Your drill doesn't do that. That's the cool, again, opportunities of the machine that aren't available in a normal shop.
You're gonna start spawning your.
I use little hair tie rubber bands. They're actually great little springs. You can get those at any grocery store. Just the little tiny, for if you're doing lots of little braids, the little black rubber bands are great. And the silicone ones are the best. They last a long time. But I use that in a lot of mechanisms. Oh, so again, that light bulb I was talking about.
Check it out, guys.
Yeah. So just jam some LED Christmas tree lights in it. This is an LED bulb that I just made this fit, so that'll light up and become a lamp. Maybe I do that. I don't know. More of these guys. But again, you can see how that one's blown. Custom. So I just went to Thingiverse, and they had all these letters as blocks, sort of like an alphabet cubes. Downloaded the whole alphabet on the computer. I just moved them next to each other. I hit send, make a STL, and I got that printed. I didn't have to do anything other than download some stuff, move them next to each other, hit the button, and then I got that. That's pretty fancy. I changed the color at one point too. But to build all this yourself would be really annoying, and it was just there.
Right.
Here's a free file with everything you want.
Well, let's go. Tinker get out of your hole for the. Same thing.
So I also got a big robot bunny. But again, you have to think about if you limited a machine and how certain things print nicely in certain directions. So for example, like this part, you want to actually lay it flat so it's stronger. So you'd want to print that separate from this part, which you print in a different direction. So when you're designing a part, you have to say, what machine am I going to use? How's it going to print it? And you kind of have to make parts that way. You can just kind of make anything, but the printer may have a hard time printing when you just say make anything. However, that's what some of the fancier machines are for. It'd be hard to make gears inside this one be accurate because it's just kind of a big lump. But it depends on how you model. So more rockets and stuff, me just changing the colors. If we have an outlet, I can show you.
I got you an outlet.
We got two things, two outlets. There we go. I'll twist it around. So, black plug and white plug. So, and this one I may need to turn it on. Okay, so that string of LED lights you can get on Amazon. I don't know, for like $17 or $20 maybe, I think. Might be a little bit more. Comes with a remote for another 10 or 20 bucks. So 30 or 40 bucks, you can get this little LED string yourself from Amazon, and you can make any darn light you care to make. Right? So I planted these parts, I put some tubes in it, I jammed the LEDs up its butt, and I got a light. Right? And not only that, I can change the colors of it because it came with this cool remote. But this stuff is easy now on Amazon. This would have been insane to try to make before. Now you just buy it and you stick it inside of it, right? So this sort of stuff is fun. And you got to think, all right, I'm going to make something and sell something. Plastic toy, you say, well, Toys R Us, I don't know, $40. Lamp, $100, right? So just by putting a light bulb in something, you've taken the price up about $50. So if you're thinking about business, you have to really think about who's going to buy it at what kind of price. Because this stuff I'm making, these are $100. $100 easy for me to make them. So if you're buying them, it's $150. So you got to have the right kind of crowd. Like this is a great kind of mall for somebody who wants to buy something for $150. Certain area of town, you're not going to get people to buy stuff like that. So you got to really think about how you sell, what you sell, and who you sell it to. Here's another thing. I'm just doing some jewelry, but assembly. The filament is a big thing of line, right? I take a hot screwdriver, I melt one end, I run the filament through there, and I melt the other end, and I made a rivet. So you don't have to buy expensive screws. You can just use the filament itself to make all your pivot points. So I do that trick a lot in some of my other machines where there's pivots, like this guy here too. Like that little yellow piece is just a little piece of yellow filament that I just melted and kind of made a nail. So anyhow, that's some stuff. We could look closer at the cars. Oh, This one, okay, this is gonna take it to a whole other level of insane. Again, I speak at these expos. I was in Germany and I met a company who prints nanoscale.
Oh.
And the thing that you see in here is that cheetah that I passed around.
Oh my
That is
gosh.
2 millimeters big. That's like a couple grains of rice, right? Or a couple grains of salt, not even a grain of rice. So the only way to view it is if I put the magnifying glass on it. This is one that if you want to look at, I'm going to hold.
Oh, wow.
Okay? So that is like 540 euros to print each one.
Ooh.
And I know the company that printed it, but you know, it's weird enough that if you can sell it for $700 here in the States to some crazy rich person, but you know, you sell 3 of them. It's not like Walmart, you're going to sell 3.
Wow,
But
great.
you have to be able to charge $700. So if you
Where
make
is it?
something interesting enough for $700, then you can do it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little hard to focus on. You gotta get your eye lined up just right, but it is there.
Is that the guy that
I need to get a
invented it?
digital one of those.
That invented the printer when one of the machines broke and he had like 6 months to wait, so he says, okay, if I make this nano printer?
No, these are some guys in Germany who are like trying to make things to make your computer chips smaller and for the medical industry. So they have no right in doing any business with me. They should be working with medical and aerospace. But I met them and they're like, oh sure, we'll show the cheetah at the show and you'll talk about us and I'll send you a cheetah. I'm like, hell yeah. So,
Definitely.
but yeah, I mean, you can make springs and you know, there's all kinds of opportunities. So when he said, you know, what is a printer for? I get that asked a lot.
Yep.
My general thought is, what do you do? That's what a 3D printer is for. Don't ask me what it's for. What do you do? Because people are taking and printing food if they're from the chef industry. Metal making people are doing this. So X1's near Detroit. So all the guys that were in the metal industry that lost their jobs to overseas, you know, that used to be in the car plants, they're now digitally printing the molds and they're bringing the metal casting industry back to the Detroit area, in Ohio where I'm from. So for my last trip, I went home to Harrison, Ohio instead of going to China. That's kind of cool. And that means those jobs are coming back, but high skill, weird metal parts. But because that machine exists now, those jobs are moving locations. So there's all, so again, if you work in the metal industry, figure out metal. If you work in toys, then figure out toys. If you work in video games, figure out video games. It applies to everything. Absolutely frickin' everything. Construction, doctors, your kids, whatever. It'll be in your life somewhere, so you might as well. You're smart for being here is the short version of this. So there we are. Any questions on what I showed? Because you know, I was just kind of babbling during all that.
No, evangelism is perfect for this moment. I love it. Great.
This is also just a little lamp that I made, just kind of a spider robot lamp. But that's a weird LED light bulb that I found at Home Depot. I said, hey, I bet I could clip stuff to that. And that night, I had this lamp. I could have put it on Amazon that night. So between having an idea and selling something on Amazon could have been 8 hours, right? Now, not every product's going to work that nice. You know, then you have to think about, all right, am I going to get sued for the electronics in that? Yes, I started it. There's still business on top of that. However, 8 hours, I could have had something on Amazon, and that's just a fact. That's weird.
Yeah.
Other companies, that takes a whole year to do. At Mattel, making an action figure takes a whole year and hundreds of thousands of dollars before you make the first one. I can make one for you in like 20 minutes. From script, starting from nothing. So,
It's cool.
not including the print. All right, so anyhow, but if you want to look at these guys closer or whatever, and you know, Arduino stuff, I know you're doing some drones.
Yeah. I see it.
This doesn't, well actually we could USB this one too.
Wow, that's great.
So actually somebody else I know did the programming on this. I'm less of a coder, but.
You got the spot.
See the light inside, huh? I'm trying to plug in. Oh, there we go. So it just sequences through some characters. That's all.
Oh, that's great.
But you could also put a face on it. You know, you could. It's LED grid. You can whatever you want it to put on there. So he was playing around just making the screen, and I made a little box for him, just because he wanted a little box. You could push it to turn it on and off. And then I added arms and legs because I couldn't help myself.
That's
So-
very cool.
But yeah, I mean, you know, that could also easily be a digital face if you spend a lot of time. Or it would talk to you. You know, make musical notes as the music's playing, whatever. That's again where you come in. This is that moment of being there at the right time. This is unique to the world. I've been building stuff my whole life, and this is brand new for me. And I'm good at building stuff, and I'm
Is
now
this-
better. You know, I don't run, I don't sing opera, so there's a lot of things I'm not good at. I'm not just good at that. But I'm good at this stuff, and I got way better because of you. So that's great. Because that just makes me profitable, and means I can be a business developer for somebody else.
What machines do you have? I don't.
I have a Taz 5, which is by Lulzbot. I have a flash
Oh, nice.
storage, which is the smaller kind of size one. I have an XYZ, which doesn't work anymore, the XYZ printer, the $500 one. And I have a couple of replicator clones, which are broken, but they were also off of eBay pretty cheap. And I have a U-print, which is the really expensive $15,000 one from Stratasys. That's my corporate machine. And, it always works, but the film will you a tenth the price. So it's a $50 action figure or a $5 action figure, depending on whose film that is. Right? But then I have to use the crappy machine, which might break down overnight. You know, there's a reason that one costs a lot. Sadly, though, the filament shouldn't. Anyhow, the machine's new. It's all set.